What if the ocean isn't silent, but watching you?
Deep beneath where the sun dies, submarines disappear and sonar screams echo into nothingness. Watch till the end, because a horrifying secret at number 1 will change everything. Inshallah. Number 10. The submarine that surfaced without souls. In 2017, a scientific submersible named Kaya descended into the trench for what was planned to be a 12-hour deep-sea mapping expedition. It went silent after 7 hours. No mayday, no malfunction logs, just dead air. Then, just before midnight, Kaya surfaced. But no one responded from inside. Rescue divers approached with dread, and when they opened the hatch, they froze. The 3-man crew was seated in their places, eyes wide, skin pale, limbs stiff, and smiling. They weren't breathing, but their bodies were wet, as if they had just surfaced from a swim. 30 seconds hook. What if they never truly left the trench?
Number 8. The trench that changed shape. In 2004, satellite sonar showed something impossible. The Mariana Trench had moved. Not in centimeters, in kilometers. A deep ridge once visible on all global charts had vanished overnight. One scientist, Dr. Kamoru, said it looked like the trench had turned in on itself. That's when they sent Argo 7, a mapping sub, to verify. At 11,000 meters, they discovered something horrifying. The trench was no longer a geological formation. It was a spiral, a perfect coil, as if carved. Worse, the walls of the trench were pulsing. The sub's sonar picked up rhythmic thumps, like a heartbeat. Hook. Is the trench a location or a living thing? Get ready, this twist will bend reality. Suddenly, all equipment froze. Then, on their external camera, they saw tissue. Not rock, not sand. Something pink, alive. And when they attempted ascent, the spiral tightened. They barely escaped. To this day, no one can explain it. But the sonar image remains locked in military archives, classified under one terrifying name: Organism Omega. Number 7. The one that looked back. A deep research dive by Russia's Project Silence claimed it found the closest thing to an underwater mirror. At 11,300 meters, they encountered a perfectly reflective wall in the dark. Confused, the sub moved closer. On the feed, it was reflecting the sub, the lights, everything. But then, it reflected something else. A second submarine, just beside them. But when they looked outside, there was nothing there. Suddenly, the reflection smiled. Not the crew, not the sub, just the reflection. Hook. What smiles when you don't? Hold on, a disturbing twist is coming. The reflection of the crew stood up, inside the image. It moved to the glass and pressed its face. The real crew screamed. 1 second later, the mirror cracked from the other side. And then, the reflection walked away. No one knows what it was, but the real crew, they never spoke again. Ever. Number 6. The hollow eyes beneath the hull. A Japanese observation sub in 2020 drifted into a side trench, one that wasn't on any map. It was completely dark, but then the pilot saw movement. Small, quick flashes of white. When he turned the sub's lights toward the motion, They discovered hundreds of figures. Not fish, not...
Number 5. The siren signal at 11,666 meters. In late 2021, an experimental NATO probe equipped with ultra-low-frequency receivers recorded an impossible signal coming from 11,666 meters deep. The transmission lasted 16 seconds, a frequency so low it couldn't be heard, only felt. And those who listened to the enhanced audio described a bizarre side effect. They started crying for no reason. Hook. What sound makes the soul ache? One technician fainted after playing it on loop. When he woke, he whispered one sentence before going silent forever. She's still calling me. Get ready for a shocking twist. This will blow your mind. The signal, when reversed and run through a frequency spectrogram, revealed an audio spectrograph pattern that formed a shape. A woman's face, mouth open, screaming. And beside her, dozens of other faces merging into one. Since then, that part of the trench has been restricted by every major naval force. Unofficially, it's now called the Siren Womb. Number 4. The sub that never was. In 1987, Soviet Navy logs reported a classified vessel called Volsk-31, scheduled to explore the newly discovered Trench Axis Point. No photos, no crew manifest, not even blueprints. It simply launched. A week later, NORAD's satellite footage caught a strange anomaly. A submarine surfaced in the middle of a deserted lagoon in Papua New Guinea. No access to the sea, no rivers deep enough. When military teams investigated, they found the sub abandoned. Not rusted, new. Its nameplate? Volsk-31. But the crew inside were not Russian. Their uniforms were faded and bore symbols no one recognized. All had blackened fingernails, broken teeth, and wide-open eyes. Every one of them had scratched the same message into the steel. They lied. It's not a trench, it's a door. Hook. But what was waiting behind that door? Before investigators could examine further, the sub exploded without warning, leaving no trace. Except one lens from a broken helmet. Inside it was a tiny, warped reflection of a door standing open. Number 3. The creature with no beginning. In 2018, an autonomous submersible equipped with motion-tracking sonar passed by a trench crevice. For a few seconds, the sonar pinged something massive. But when cameras turned, they saw nothing, just water. Then, slowly, the water itself seemed to bend, a distortion like heat rising from desert sand. A ripple moved toward the sub. It wasn't swimming. It was gliding, without propulsion, without movement. Number 2. The diver who came back. Wrong. In a private billionaire-funded dive in 2022, one man was lowered into the trench, solo, inside a microsub. His journey was live-streamed to surface control. At 10,990 meters, he began whispering, though no one could hear what. Then he started laughing. Then he began screaming. The scream lasted 9 minutes. Then silence. The sub returned to the surface. The man inside? Alive. But here's where everything turns. He wouldn't speak. His skin had turned pale, lips dark blue, and fingernails growing in reverse. When they checked the audio logs, the distortion hid something. A voice, not his, whispering, "He isn't yours anymore." Hook. Who speaks through the pressure of the abyss? Get ready. This next line may freeze your blood. Security footage later showed the diver walking backwards out of the facility, and then, frame by frame, disappearing, like tape in reverse. He was never found, but months later, his face was reported, on the glass of another submarine,
13,000 miles away. Number 1. The being at the bottom that waits. We have reached the bottom, and this is where everything changes. In 2023, all global trench monitoring sensors across the Pacific detected a pulse, simultaneously, one perfect wave, originating from the exact deepest point. The Mariana Trench trembled. And from that point forward, satellite GPS over the trench has never worked again. Drones sent down since then vanish at 11,945 meters. No impact, no malfunction. They just blink out. But the final drone that made it recorded a single image before blackout. It wasn't static. It wasn't a blur. It was an eye. A massive eye, bloodshot and ancient, looking up. The pupil dilated, and right before the screen turned black, it blinked. Final hook. Are we watching the trench, or is it watching us? Final shocking fact bonus. Researchers at the University of Kyoto revealed a confidential discovery. 94 sonar pings from different decades form a sequence when layered. The signals, when sped up and played together, generate a sound wave that matches a human heartbeat. That's right. The trench doesn't just hide life. It may be alive itself. And perhaps, what we call the ocean's deepest pit is really the eye of something asleep, waiting.